That meal you ordered without thinking last week might be the reason your stomach felt off. And what some restaurants are getting away with would make you lose your appetite instantly, because eating out feels safe now. You recognize the logo. You've been there before. Your friends go there. It's busy, so it must be fine, right? We trust familiarity. We trust convenience. We trust that someone, somewhere, is making sure what ends up on our plate won't make us sick. But here's the part no one talks about. Some restaurants only look clean from the customer side. Behind the doors you never see are kitchens that barely pass inspections, food that's handled in ways you'd never accept at home, and shortcuts that are taken because most people won't ever know until something goes wrong. And the scary part isn't that these places exist, it's that people keep eating there anyway, because warning signs get buried, reports get ignored, and a busy dining room convinces everyone that nothing's wrong. In this video, we're exposing 7 UK restaurants you should seriously think twice about eating at, the red flags hiding in plain sight, and how some places survive purely on brand recognition and habit. And at the end, I'll show you 3 UK restaurants that actually do it right. No guesswork, no crossed fingers. But before we get to the good ones, we need to talk about the places that get away with way too much. Starting with number 7. Number 7, Frankie and Benny's. Frankie and Benny's is the kind of restaurant people don't actively choose. They default to it. You're tired, you're with a group, nobody wants to argue, and someone shrugs and says, Frankie and Benny's? Decision made. That's how this place survives. Not on excitement or obsession, but on familiarity and lowered expectations. Because when you actually stop and think about it, Frankie and Benny's is doing something quietly risky. It tries to be everything at once. Burgers, pasta, pizza, ribs, breakfasts, desserts, cocktails, all coming out of the same kitchen all day long. That kind of menu doesn't come from fresh cooking. It comes from pre-prep, freezing, reheating, and holding food far longer than most customers would ever be comfortable knowing. And this isn't speculation. Over the years, multiple locations have received poor food hygiene ratings, with inspectors flagging dirty prep areas, improper food storage, and basic cleanliness failures that shouldn't happen in a functioning restaurant. Not every branch, not every visit, but often enough that it stops being coincidence and starts feeling structural. Here's why most people never notice. Frankie and Benny's look safe, warm lighting, big booths, familiar music, plates arrive hot, staff are polite, the dining room sells comfort, even when the kitchen behind it is under pressure, and pressure is constant. Large menus mean ingredients sitting, sauces waiting, proteins resting, pasta reheated instead of cooked fresh. During high rushes, speed wins over care. Everything depends on systems being followed perfectly every time, and in real kitchens, that rarely happens. When something goes wrong, customers don't blame the restaurant, they blame their stomach, stress, something else they ate earlier. That quiet deflection protects the brand while the pattern continues. Frankie and Benny's isn't shocking, it's worse, it's normal. It's the restaurant people trust without thinking, even when warning signs have been flashing quietly for years. And if number 7 survives on familiarity, number 6 is more dangerous because it convinces people they're in control. Number 6, Subway. Subway sells safety better than it sells sandwiches. You walk in, you see the ingredients, you watch your food being made, and your brain relaxes. Nothing feels hidden, nothing feels risky. You're standing right there, so everything must be fine. That sense of control is exactly why people trust it without hesitation. But that trust is built on illusion. Subway's entire system runs on speed. Lunch rushes, school crowds, office breaks, delivery orders, everything moves fast. And when speed becomes the priority, hygiene is always the first thing to bend. Gloves stay on too long. Hands don't get washed as often as they should. Surfaces don't get wiped between every order. It's not because staff are careless. It's because the system rewards speed over caution. Over the years, inspectors have flagged numerous locations for issues like poor food handling, cross-contamination, improperly stored ingredients, and basic cleanliness failures. Not isolated scandals. Repeating problems across different branches. Same brand, same promise, very different execution. And that's the danger of franchises. One Subway can be spotless, another can be quietly cutting corners just to survive. As a customer, you can't tell which one you're standing in. The logo gives false reassurance. The ingredients don't help either. Meats arrive pre-processed, vegetables are pre-cut, bread is baked fast and stacked. During peak hours, containers sit open under bright lights, while bacteria doesn't care how fresh the branding looks. What makes Subway especially risky is that people drop their guard. You feel involved, you feel protected, you think watching equals safety, but you're only seeing the counter, not the prep areas, storage rooms, or what happens before opening and after closing. Subway has also faced ongoing criticism over how it markets freshness, blurring the line between perception and reality. When a brand needs to constantly remind you it's fresh, that's already a warning sign. Subway isn't scary because it looks dirty. It's scary because it looks controlled. And if number 6 hides behind the illusion of freshness, number 5 hides behind something even harder to argue with: price. Number 5, Wetherspoons. Wetherspoons doesn't earn loyalty through food quality, it earns it through price. Cheap meals, cheap drinks, and portions big enough to silence complaints. For many people, it feels like a victory, eating out without feeling ripped off. That emotional attachment makes people fiercely defensive of it. But cheap food always comes with a cost. Wetherspoons operates on massive scale, hundreds of locations, identical menus, centralized production, meals designed to be shipped, stored, reheated, and served with ruthless efficiency. This isn't cooking culture, it's logistics pretending to be hospitality, and logistics prioritize speed, not care. Over the years, multiple Wetherspoons locations have failed food hygiene inspections, with reports mentioning dirty kitchens, unsafe food storage, pest problems, and poor cleaning routines. These aren't rare one-offs, they're patterns that keep resurfacing across different pubs, but customers forgive it because expectations are low. When food is cheap, standards quietly drop, sticky tables get ignored, lukewarm plates get shrugged off, meals that feel slightly wrong get explained away with, well, it's Wetherspoons. That mindset is dangerous. Most Wetherspoons kitchens rely heavily on microwaves and pre-prepared meals. Food arrives portioned, sealed, and ready to be heated. When everything depends on timing and temperature, one mistake can turn a safe meal into a risky one, especially during peak hours, which are constant. Volume hides problems. Thousands of meals go out every day, so individual failures disappear into the noise. Complaints feel isolated. Patterns stay invisible. Wetherspoons isn't chaotic, it's routine. And routine failures are the hardest to notice because they feel normal. The real issue isn't that Wetherspoons cuts corners, it's that customers expect it to and accept it. When cost-cutting is the foundation, food safety becomes something you hope exists, not something you can rely on. And if number 5 is the place people excuse because it's cheap, number 4 is where those excuses completely collapse. Number 4, TGI Fridays. TGI Fridays sells celebration. Bright lights, loud music, big cocktails, massive plates. It's designed to feel like a party, even when you're just there because it was nearby and everyone agreed on it. And when a place feels fun, people stop asking serious questions. That's where the problem starts. TGI Fridays runs on spectacle and volume. Huge menus packed with burgers, ribs, chicken, pasta, appetizers, desserts, all engineered to arrive fast and look impressive. But food built for visual impact is rarely food built for careful handling. Most dishes are heavily pre-prepared, portioned, frozen, and reheated to survive busy services without falling apart. And busy is the point. Fridays is built for constant turnover. Loud environments distract customers from noticing details, while kitchens are pushed to move fast under pressure. Speed beats precision. Consistency beats care. Over the years, multiple locations have faced criticism and poor hygiene scores, with inspectors flagging issues like unclean prep areas, food not being stored at safe temperatures, and general lapses in cleanliness. Again, not every location, but enough to raise serious questions about oversight and standards. What makes this dangerous is perception. TGI Fridays feels polished, corporate, professional. The branding makes you assume there's a strict system keeping everything under control. In reality, large chains often struggle the most with consistency because enforcing standards across hundreds of kitchens is harder than it looks. Add alcohol into the mix, and people become even less observant. Few customers are inspecting their food safety when they're focused on cocktails and noise. That atmosphere isn't accidental, it lowers scrutiny. TGI Fridays doesn't rely on trust earned through food quality, it relies on distraction. And distraction is powerful. And if number 4 gets away with issues by keeping everything loud and colourful, number 3 is more unsettling because it hides behind something much quieter. Number 3, Greggs. Greggs feels untouchable. It's cheap, it's everywhere, it's practically cultural. For a lot of people, Greggs isn't just food, it's routine. Morning sausage roll, lunchtime bake, something warm when you're in a rush. And because it feels familiar, people rarely question it. But familiarity is exactly what lowers caution. Greggs operates at massive scale, pushing out enormous volumes of food every single day. Items are baked in store, held in warming units, and sold continuously for hours. That holding time is where problems can creep in, especially when stores are understaffed or overwhelmed. Over the years, Individual Greggs locations have been flagged for hygiene issues, including improper food handling, cleanliness concerns, and problems with temperature control. While many branches maintain decent standards, the sheer volume means small failures can happen often and quietly. The bigger issue is expectation. Customers don't expect freshly cooked to order. They expect fast and hot enough. That gap creates room for shortcuts. Food sits, timers get ignored, displays stay full because empty shelves look bad, and because Greggs food is cheap, people tolerate things they wouldn't elsewhere. Slightly dry, slightly off, slightly questionable. You tell yourself it's fine because it's always been fine, but mass production relies on systems working perfectly every day. When one step slips, the consequences multiply fast across hundreds of customers. Greggs isn't dangerous because it's chaotic. It's dangerous because it's routine. People stop paying attention. Staff are rushed. Standards rely on habit instead of vigilance. And if number 3 shows how comfort can blind people, number 2 is where branding does the real damage because it feels premium even when it shouldn't. Number 2, Pret a Manger. Pret a Manger doesn't just sell food. It sells reassurance, natural ingredients, clean eating, ethical sourcing, calm fonts, soft lighting. Everything about Pret tells you you're safe here. It's the place people choose when they want to feel responsible, when they want lunch to feel light, clean, and harmless. That image is powerful. And that's exactly why Pret's dangerous when things go wrong. Pret runs on a fragile promise. Fresh food, made fast, at massive scale. Sandwiches prepared early. Salads assembled quickly. Ingredients handled constantly. Shelves refilled all day. That kind of system only works when every rule is followed perfectly, every time. And in the real world, perfection doesn't exist. Pret has faced some of the most serious food safety controversies in recent memory, including fatal allergen-related incidents that exposed deep flaws in how information was handled and communicated. These weren't small mistakes. They were life and death failures that forced investigations, public apologies, and sweeping promises of change. But here's the uncomfortable reality. The pressure never goes away. Food is prepared in high-volume kitchens, often overnight or early morning, then transported and displayed openly for hours. Items are supposed to be removed after strict time limits, but when stores are busy and shelves look empty, those limits can quietly stretch. Presentation matters, speed matters. The brand must look perfect. What makes Pret especially unsettling is how much trust customers give it. People with allergies relax. Health-conscious customers assume safety. Parents grab food without hesitation. The brand does the thinking for them until it doesn't. Fresh food is actually riskier than frozen food when systems fail. Open displays, constant handling, and human error create more opportunities for something to go wrong. Add understaffing and rush hour chaos, and even well-trained teams can slip. Pret's image protects it. People want to believe it's good. That belief softens criticism and delays accountability. And if number 2 proves that a wholesome image can hide serious risk, number 1 is even more unsettling because it looks bold, transparent, and completely in control. Number 1, Five Guys. Five Guys looks like honesty. Open kitchens, fresh beef, bags of potatoes stacked in plain sight, staff shouting orders. Nothing feels hidden. You're paying more, so you assume higher standards, more care, more control. That assumption is exactly why Five Guys lands at number 1, because kitchens that handle raw meat at speed are playing the riskiest game in food service. Fresh beef, constant grilling, shared surfaces, fast-moving stuff. Everything has to be perfect. Temperature control, cleaning routines, hand hygiene, and cross-contamination prevention can't slip even once, and yet they do. Multiple Five Guys locations have received poor hygiene ratings over the years, with inspectors citing dirty prep areas, improper food storage, inadequate cleaning, and lapses that are especially serious in raw meat environments. Not rumors, not exaggerations, official reports. The open kitchen design creates confidence, but it also creates distraction. Customers see flames, movement, noise, energy. They don't see thermometer checks. They don't see storage practices. They don't see what happens during the rush when orders pile up and pressure mounts. Five Guys kitchens are built for speed. Burgers move fast. Orders stack. Staff hustle. And when a system operates constantly at maximum pace, it leaves very little margin for error. One missed step with raw beef isn't a minor issue. It's a serious health risk. The premium price tag shields the brand. People excuse problems because the food tastes good, because they paid more, because it feels like a real burger place. That emotional investment lowers scrutiny. Five Guys isn't unsafe because it's careless. It's unsafe because it operates operates on the edge of control, where everything must go right every single day, across every location. And that's why it's number one, because the restaurants people trust the most are often the ones they question the least, right up until something goes very wrong. Now for the part you've been waiting for. This isn't about never eating out again. It's about knowing which places cut corners and which ones don't. After everything we've just seen, you deserve some clarity. So, before this turns into everything is terrible, let's flip the script. Here are 3 restaurants that actually do it right. Good brand. 3. Wagamama. Wagamama works because it doesn't pretend to be something it isn't. From the moment you walk in, the system is clear. Open kitchens, simple menus, fewer moving parts. The food is cooked fast, but not chaotically. That distinction matters more than most people realize. Speed isn't the enemy, complexity is. Wagamama limits its menu intentionally. You're not choosing between 50 unrelated dishes pulled from 10 different cuisines. You're eating within a tight framework: noodles, rice bowls, broths, grills. That focus allows kitchens to train staff properly, rotate ingredients quickly, and keep prep predictable. Predictability is safety. The open kitchen layout isn't theater, it's accountability. You can see the process, you can see timing, you can see food being cooked, not assembled from a holding unit. And because everything moves quickly from pan to bowl, food doesn't sit around waiting for its moment. Wagamama has also built its reputation around consistency rather than nostalgia. People don't defend it emotionally, they just expect it to work. That's usually a good sign. When a restaurant survives on systems instead of sentiment, standards tend to hold. That doesn't mean perfection. No chain is flawless. But Wagamama's model reduces the number of things that can quietly go wrong. And that's the real win. Less hiding, less improvisation, less pressure to fake freshness. It's a restaurant that feels calm behind the scenes. And calm kitchens make fewer mistakes. And if Wagamama proves that simplicity protects quality, the next brand shows what happens when food safety becomes part of the culture, not just the checklist. Good brand 2. Nando's. Nando's succeeds for one reason most chains avoid. It standardizes discipline. The menu is tight, the ingredients are controlled, the process is repeatable. Chicken comes in prepared to strict specifications. Cooking times are fixed, grills are monitored, and food moves through a defined system that leaves very little room for improvisation. That's not boring, that's safe. Nando's kitchens are built around visible accountability. Grills are open. Food is cooked to order. Staff are trained obsessively on handling raw chicken, which is one of the highest risk ingredients in food service. And because chicken is the core of the menu, the entire operation revolves around getting it right. What also matters is volume management. Nando's expects rushes, so the system is designed to handle them without shortcuts. Prep is structured. Cleaning is routine, not reactive. That's the difference between a kitchen that survives pressure and one that collapses under it. Another quiet strength is transparency. Nando's doesn't oversell health or pretend to be something else. It's grilled chicken done properly. When brands don't need to exaggerate, they tend to be more honest about what they serve. You'll still get the occasional bad visit, that's reality, but widespread hygiene failures aren't part of the brand's story, and that consistency across locations is what trust actually looks like. And if Nando's shows how strong systems keep standards intact, the final brand proves that doing less can sometimes be the smartest move of all. Good brand 1, Leon. Leon built its reputation quietly, and that's why it works. The menu is deliberately restrained. Ingredients are familiar. Dishes are designed to be prepared efficiently without pretending to be hyper-artisanal or ultra-fast. Leon doesn't rush food through chaos, it moves it through structure. What sets Leon apart is that safety is baked into the identity, not layered on afterward. From sourcing to preparation, the brand has consistently emphasized clean processes, clear labeling, and realistic expectations. It doesn't promise perfection, it promises care. Food is prepared in controlled environments, portioned carefully, and served within tight time windows. That reduces risk. Staff training focuses on routine and repetition, not improvisation. When staff know exactly what they're responsible for, mistakes drop. Leon also benefits from not being distracted by excess. There's no pressure to serve everything to everyone. Fewer items mean faster rotation, less waste, and less food sitting around waiting to be sold. Most importantly, Leon doesn't rely on hype. It doesn't use loud branding or emotional manipulation. People eat there because it consistently feels fine. And in food safety terms, fine is actually excellent. That's the common thread with all 3 of these restaurants. They don't shout, they don't distract, they don't rely on trust they haven't earned. They just work, even when things get busy. And once you've seen the difference between places built on systems and places built on shortcuts, it becomes very hard to unsee it. At the end of the day, this isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Most people don't get sick from restaurants because of one dramatic failure. It's usually a pattern, small shortcuts, repeated over time, hidden behind busy dining rooms and familiar branding. And once you see those patterns, it's almost impossible to unsee them. The uncomfortable truth is that the places we trust the most are often the ones we question the least, not because they're safer, but because they feel normal. Now you know better. So next time you're choosing where to eat, don't just ask, what do I feel like? Ask, what's actually happening back there? That one question changes everything. If this video surprised you, send it to someone who always says, it's fine, I eat there all the time. And if you want more videos that break down everyday food without the sugar coating, hit subscribe, because there are a lot more safe spots we haven't talked about yet.